over the next 3 days, we're going to begin the engine block, work step by step with the leading manufacturers, best engine builders around the world, sharing their insights as we go through how do you do it, not just talk about it conceptually, but we can actually, like you said, put it in the machine and run it. Make some chips. That's going to be cool, right? We're not just going to be running our mouths. We're going to make some chips and clean some stuff. We're going to torque some bolts and things while we're here, make it happen over the next 3 days. And then the great part is...
Well, exactly. What are we going to do with this? Like, we're going to have something at the end of this that we made the product of the Engine Performance Expo. What are we going to do with this?
We're going to give it away, of course, right? Okay, so, just like the shows, they would have a giveaway. All the watchers, the viewers, hang around. Someone is going to win the LSX short block, which again, Dart, Diamond, Liberty, there's a cast of thousands, right, that have helped produce this piece. Someone's going to win it. So,
fantastic.
We want to encourage you to share and invite your friends, and you can copy and paste the link, and we expect the audience to build. We expect people to come in and out as they are able to. It is great, but listen, if you're trying to win the block, we still want you to share with your friends.
Yeah, I know.
Don't try to corner the market. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And Andy, seeing the machines put through their paces, that's going to be so exciting to me.
Yeah, it'll be a fantastic thing. This is the way information gets spread around the world to learn over the internet like this. So wonderful opportunity for everybody.
I just know for me personally that the process of gathering all of this information, because there is a whole team of people that have been running all over the country for the last 4 months, filming these things in these people's shops. Doing that process, have learned so much. I mean, it's been like transformational for somebody like myself that's grown up around racing my whole life. That's in the last 4 months, I've learned so much just gathering it. Again, we're hyping it up, but this is going to be transformational. The nuggets, the information that's going to come over these next 3 days, you're going to appreciate. Best free money you ever spent.
Well, exactly. The price is right. And just in my process out at the NHRA, and of course doing my podcast, I get to interact with a lot of engine builders and smart people. And I think we're seeing this transition, like a generational transition, and we're going to notice it. And the next generation must get involved in this information, like the use of technology, the use of computers. Andy was telling me about his grandfather's original innovations, on Model Ts and Model As for cylinders. And now to think that these machines, computers, computer screens, touch screens, can do all of these things, but there is a foundational education required, and that's what we're trying to do.
Extremely important, yes.
And that's probably the overarching view of this whole thing, is that a lot of our industry was based on analog technology. And there are some people here that were going to be those guys. Like Warren's been a great example. A guy that started off doing things by the sound and the feel. Not the sound and feel still don't matter, but the reality in today's technology, we've got the digital technology that allows you to be more precise and more repeatable, and that's the key to success and performance.
Yeah. Understanding the old technology is very important, but we've got to progress and learn how to use the new technology to be more productive in the shop, or produce parts that are more accurate, that are going to make those cars go faster.
And that's the reason why there isn't just one good engine in your fleet of engines anymore, and they are all almost exactly the same down to the horsepower, because you're not doing it by ear or feel, you're doing it using the technology. All right, so we're about to get started with our first bit. How do we start out building an LS engine? We've got to figure out how to select the block.
Yep, got to begin with the block, and so Dart is going to help us understand how you make an engine block.
Today we're going to give you a little sneak peek into our state-of-the-art manufacturing facility and let you hear from a couple of our employees. For those of you that aren't familiar with Dart, we were founded by Richard Maskin back in 1981 in a 2-car garage in Oak Park, Michigan. In the years since Maskin started Dart with a desk and a telephone, we've become the proven leader in aftermarket cylinder heads, intake manifolds, and engine blocks. So sit back and enjoy the tour. Dart Machinery's Technology Center and manufacturing facility have joined together into a new 82,000 square foot building located in Warren, Michigan. Our machining and qualifying is designed to maintain the highest level of quality throughout the manufacturing process. Our production runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. These top-of-the-line machines are the same ones used by major automotive manufacturers, as well as some of the aerospace industry. Each Dart component is thoroughly inspected to ensure that they are free of porosity and other defects. Dart is committed in producing the best engine components available. All development, machining, and assembly are done at our own facilities in order to maintain the highest standards of quality. State-of-the-art CNC machining centers and proprietary speed flow technology wet flow bench are among the assets that contribute to Dart's advantage.
My name's Gordon Hahn. I'm the manufacturing manager here at Dart. I've been here since I started with Dave in 1980, and started back then. We had a couple bridge ports and a couple lathes. We grew that into boring mills and teamed up with Richard and Dart in 95. And I'm responsible for programming all the machines, the process, engineering. Right now I'm standing in front of our Op1 machine. It does all the qualifying for all of our blocks. Everything starts out here. We qualify the blocks, machining the ends, and prep them for the datum points for Op2.
Dart makes use of highly advanced CNC technology for finished machining procedures and porting. Our 5-axis CNC machines craft blocks and heads with precision and detail.
My name's Joe Stoller. I'm the cylinder head production supervisor here at Dart Machinery. I've been here 2 years. I come from an engine builder background. I own my own shop for 15 years and worked at some high-end race engine shops here in the Detroit metro area. One thing I like working about at Dart is we get to work with several different types of cylinder heads, from Fords, Chevys, big blocks, LS's, and we're constantly trying to develop those heads to make things better for our customers and for the race engine builder. One of my favorite products here in the cylinder head department is our 20-degree big block Chevy head. It has super stable valve train, one-piece bar from either Jessel or T&D. It makes great power, great torque, and is very reliable for all of our customers.
Getting the best results requires the right tool for the job, so Dart employs an array of highly specialized machinery to optimize every process. Our Sun and SV20 CNC hone allows us to maintain extraordinary bore size accuracy and carefully control the peaks and valleys of the bore, achieving the perfect hone in a fraction of the time.
Hi, I'm Scott. I've been working here at Dart for 35 years. I'm the block supervisor in charge of everything that goes through the block department. Why I think Dart stands out is consistency and how accurate our blocks are compared to what's out there on the market. So everything's looking up. They keep on advancing the company. It's been great as far as sales. The company's still going strong, but it's great to have it here in the United States.
We use an advanced Zeiss coordinate measuring machine to ensure the utmost accuracy in each part produced. The Zeiss is capable of measuring hundreds of points along virtually any surface of a part.
My name's Matt Jeanette. I'm the head of the inventory control group here, so we do planning, purchasing, shipping, and receiving. I've been at Dart since 1991, minus a small time where I went and worked with one of our customers, Jigs. So I worked at a time when the business started from the basement. We went to a building in Troy, and obviously we've grown into our new facility in Warren. So I was here during the years where Richard Maskin, our owner, was building pro stock engines for championship teams like Jim Yates and the Coughlin brothers, Jeggy in particular. So we don't just make the parts here, we've actually raced all of the parts, and those relationships still stay intact with all of our customers today. We don't just sell to warehouses and places like that. We actually work with all of the engine builders and make sure that our technology and the things that we're offering are still top of the line in the industry and the highest performance parts available. We've done things over the years that a lot of people haven't, especially with our billet line or our race type products, where we use different manufacturing techniques, different machining that no one else in the industry does, that separates our product and helps our customers move to the forefront of the racing industry. So whether it's at a racetrack or in the marine industry or even enthusiast hot rodder, we try and make sure that we're building a part that is the best available, the highest quality, and that the price is good, and also try and deliver it in an amount of time that meets everybody's needs. So.
Hi, I'm Mark Mickey. I'm the driver of Jason Carter's 78 Malibu. We currently run the car in Pro 275. But the history of the car, we won the inaugural Sweet 16. This car still holds the RVW mile an hour record, 221 miles an hour. It's a 78 Malibu. We utilize a big block Chevrolet, 540 cubic inches. Right now, like I said, we switched it over to the 275. Just a little bit fits the class a little bit, or the car fits the class a little better. We utilize some components, like we utilize a Dart billet block. I think we've been using these for about 3 years. Really, the Dart block changed our program around. It's a great product. The service, the durability of this thing is second to none. We beat the crap out of it. We run almost 90 pounds of boost in these motors. So just a testament of how good solid foundation of the motor is.
There aren't any shortcuts when it comes to crafting the best performing, most reliable components around. At Dart, we believe the formula is hard work, seasoned experience, and the best equipment money can buy.
Jeff Lake. I work here at Dart Machinery. Been going on 13 years now here in the SHP department. It's where we do a lot of block preps for our customers, WDs, and we have our short block program that we assemble back here. We sell a lot of those to WDs This is a brand new Little M that is fully prepped. That's going to be a short block when it leaves here. And on our block prep, we finish the decks, and they're super smooth for an MLS gasket. The bores are finished, home to the torque plate. Freeze plugs are put in, oil galley plugs are put in. It's clean, it's ready to go. This is the same block that you would get if you were just buying a block prep and taking the block out of the box, and it's ready for you to assemble. The only difference is this one's on the stand and this one's going to be a short block. And by doing this, we touch all these blocks. So it's another form of quality control for us, because we're working on the finished product that we're machining.
Hey guys, my name is Mike Sanders. I'm Product Development Manager for Dart Machinery. I've been here for 20 years. Currently, I'm working on reviewing our new LS7 flow figures, which currently has 461.4 CFM and 900 lift. In the future, be on the lookout in 2021 for our new Iron Eagle small block Ford. The Iron Eagle is landed. I'm also reviewing our new Big Chief 3, the new exhaust port for nitrous applications.
enjoyed the little peek into Dart machinery. If you'd like more info, please give us a shout at 248-362-1188 or check us out on our website at dartheads.com. Thank you for 40 years of support and business. We appreciate you all. And remember, Dart heads and blocks win races.
Welcome back. Thanks to Dart for that great video talking about engine blocks. Joining me is my friend David Lewis and Jimmy Barton from Roush-Yates Racing Engines, guys who actually use some Dart engine blocks in their NASCAR spec engine program. So, one little note before we move on, a little housekeeping tidbit. If you're having problems with the audio, make sure your player is not muted. Now, in the top section there should be a button. You can make sure that you're not muted, and then turn the volume up if you're having problems hearing. So, that taken care of, let's get into Dart blocks, or in this case was the Dart LS Next block is the one that they've donated to the Expo that we're going to be machining here and kind of moving through. Well, that's a block you guys have a little bit of familiarity with. Tell me a little bit about your backstory on how you came about using and choosing the Dart LS Next block.
We do a spec engine program for NASCAR, and they have it. We were using the LS2 block, 6 liter, and GM discontinued that block, so we had to go out and find a suitable replacement at a cost-effective price point.
Right. So I also know from my time back at Joe Gibbs Racing, at the beginning of that program, when we were using the factory block, that factory block had a couple of shortcomings when we were using it as a race engine, because obviously it wasn't designed as a race block, and putting it in a race car. What were some of the problems we saw there, Jimmy?
Well, the structural integrity of the block in a street car is mounted on rubber biscuits that mount it, and you tie it down in a race car and use it as a structural member. The car will twist it and crack it and stuff like that. And the RPM range in the motor was not really conducive for nearly 8,000 RPM with the crank, 6 counterweight crank in it. So that and the structurability of the car, where it uses a structure element, tend to crack the mains in.
I remember that at Gibbs. We had, Joey Logano was driving for us back then, using those as he's a kid, right? Seeing the main webs crack for that very reason.
And it's usually number 2 and 4, and they crack right through the oil galley, and then it was potential to lose the rods in it because it lost oil pressure.
Correct.
But, I mean, it was just an inherent GM designed engine that's made for a street car that you put in a race car.
And of course, we know there's lots of people that are running street LS, factory block engines
with great success.
Oh yeah, so it happens.
Horsepower.
Right, but there becomes a point. There's a limitation, be it application-wise, how you install the engine in the car, or just the total amount of power that you're making, where that factory block, you're just exceeding its limits. And
the GM Performance book rates that block at 450 horsepower. We're making well over 600 with it, and some of the street guys with turbos and stuff are making 1,000 with it. But I mean, it's just limited.
Right. So then you can go on to the beefier block, more material, stronger. But there's another part about this LS Next block that the three of us have very familiarity with compared to the factory block, and that's the oiling system. Now, tomorrow morning, the guys from Melling are going to be on here doing a little video talking about the LS oiling system, but specifically the problem that the three of us worked together on when I was driven on the oiling and the oil flow issue. Why don't you address that a little bit?
Well, to start with, the motor doesn't flow a lot of oil because it's an aluminum block, and you have to spit the mains up tight to get it to have the proper clearance when it's hot. So when it's cold, it doesn't have enough clearance in it. But when it's hot, because that's a 2 oil galley block, which means that it oils through the lifters first before it gets to the mains. Then you got 16 oil leaks at the lifters when they get big. So it's just an oil flow problem there. The Dart block is a 3 oil galley block, which is priority oiled to the mains first and then restricted to the lifters, so it doesn't have the problem that 2 oil galley block has.
I'm trying to remember the numbers exactly. When we were doing the testing with the oil flow with the baseline oil, what was the gallons per minute difference between the two blocks?
About 2 gallons.
About 2 gallons.
Right.
That's significant. I remember the windage, higher RPM. Obviously, the oil pump's moving faster because it's well, in your case, you're using a dry sump system. But for the guys who are still using it with the factory wet sump system, higher the RPM of the engine, the more oil you're putting through it, windage becomes a big issue.
Well, in our application at 200 degrees with our clearances, the GM block had about 7, almost 8 gallons of oil flow a minute. And the Dart block was down in the mid 6s.
Wow.
And
So
it
way better oil control.
oil control, and it held the clearances a little better, just because of the steel caps and all.
Exactly. So those are some big advances and of why you would choose that type of block to upgrade your program to move forward, which of course Dart talked about. But other applications where your experience of building all kinds of engines well beyond just the NASCAR spec engines. Talk a little bit about application and how that's going to dictate what your block selection is going to be in terms of material and things like that.
Well, if you're going to use it as a structural part of the car, you need a better block with the better aluminum in it, like the Dart block, because it's stiffer. The GM block is not designed to be a structural component of the car. So, if you're going to get anything over probably 500-600 horsepower, you're pushing the limit of the GM block. This motor here, the Dart engine, should handle easily 1,000-1,500, no problem. And I've heard way greater than that on it, but personal experience is not there for it.
Exactly. So obviously there's aluminum blocks, there's iron blocks, and even within the iron block family, there's compacted graphite, which is just kind of its own little unique beast. Talk a little bit about, we were kind of preview for later in the day where we're going to you guys are going to come back and we're going to talk about piston to wall clearance and some pins and things. Talk about a sleeved block, wet sleeve versus a
cast-in sleeve?
Yes.
The GM block is a cast-in sleeve.
Okay.
So if something happens to that sleeve, you can't do anything with it but bore it out and bore the block, and you're taking material out of the block when you do. The Dart block comes with a 4300 bore in it, which means they put a sleeve in that block that's very thick, and the bore size can go all the way up to 4185. It's max they recommend. You can go a little further, but you got a 300,000 thick block, and that's sleeve in that block versus you got about a 60 or 80,000 thick sleeve in the GM block.
So it gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of bore stroke combinations.
For bore stroke combination.
That's awesome.
And the repairability of the block itself.
Well, yeah, because now you know it's going to be able to live longer, more oversizes.
Well, you can change the sleeves in that block.
Oh, that's another big advantage.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the next video segment we're going to get to is going to go into Suma bore. So still going to hang out with aluminum blocks for a little bit, but we're going to bring in my buddy Jake Raby, who's a Porsche specialist. We're going to go from a V8 engine to a flat 6 engine. We're going to talk a little bit about bore coating and going to say Nicosil versus Alusil versus Suma bore, which is a new advanced coating, which you guys are a little bit familiar with as well, which requires a whole honing process as well. But we're going to go ahead and let Jake take it over and start talking about what happens when you choose to do a coated bore versus a sleeved engine, and what those considerations are and things to look for and where we're headed in the future. So we'll go ahead and let Jake take it away.
What a day, what a day, what a day. Yeah, my brain is swollen. I've learned so much today. They told us, don't start cars